Modern warfare is increasingly beginning to resemble not a race for the most advanced technologies, but a ruthless examination in mathematics. On one side of the scale is the mass-produced loitering munition, a simple, noisy, slow, and extremely cheap system designed to be launched in the hundreds or even thousands. On the other side stands a sophisticated air defense system where a single interceptor costs thousands of times more than the target it's intended to destroy. Such a conflict quickly turns into an economic trap. Even if the defense is formally successful, it suffers a severe cost disadvantage with every intercepted raid. Yet it's precisely under these conditions that solutions emerge which, until recently, would have seemed like relics of a bygone era. The Embraer A-29 Super Tucano was not designed for countering drone swarms or hunting expendable aerial targets. This turboprop flight attack aircraft emerged within an entirely different paradigm of warfare, operations over jungles and remote regions against insurgent formations and lightly armed adversaries. Its key strengths were simplicity of operation, the ability to loiter over an area for extended periods, and independence from expensive infrastructure. At the same time, its mission set was broad enough to avoid unnecessary reliance on costly jet aviation. And now an aircraft that once seemed too primitive for 21st century conflicts has suddenly fit perfectly into their new logic. Because war rarely asks what is modern enough, it demands what works, for long durations, reliability, and without enormous expenditure. So you simply dust off an old attack aircraft and it ceases to be an anachronism, transforming instead into an answer to the question, how do you mass destroy low-cost threats without bankrupting your own defense? To understand why the A-29 is even being discussed in the context of drone interception, we must first recall its original concept. The Super Tucano is not a classical interceptor or a junior counterpart to a jet fighter. It's a platform designed for low-cost, prolonged warfare in environments where there's no need to sprint to the target at supersonic speeds, but rather to remain airborne for hours, observing the situation, escorting allied forces, reacting quickly, and doing so without burning through the budget in a single sortie. Brazil's concept within the Amazon surveillance program was extremely pragmatic: vast territories, remote bases, harsh climates, weak infrastructure, and a wide spectrum of tasks including patrol, reconnaissance, strike missions, and pilot training. All of this was consolidated into a single aerial platform. The Embraer EMB-314 Super Tucano, also known as ALX or A-29 for export customers. These objectives dictated the aircraft design. The A-29 was originally built as a rugged, durable machine capable of operating from austere, semi-prepared airstrips with short takeoff runs, while being highly undemanding in terms of supporting infrastructure. In its official brochures, Embraer proudly highlighted its short takeoff and landing distances, approximately 2,950 feet for takeoff over a 50-foot obstacle, and about 2,820 feet for landing under similar conditions. For major powers, this might seem insignificant, but for countries that need to dispense their aviation assets without tying them to a handful of large air bases, this is not a minor detail. It's a strategic advantage. Externally, the aircraft retained a simple configuration: a turboprop engine, straight wings, and excellent cockpit visibility. However, internally it was already a modern combat aircraft, unlike the earlier EMB-312 Tucano trainer. It features digital avionics, armor protection for critical systems, protected fuel tanks, night operation capability, modern communications, and integration of precision-guided munitions. The Pratt & Whitney PT6A68C engine, producing approximately 1,600 horsepower, allows the Super Tucano to reach speeds of up to 370 miles per hour. Not impressive? That's only when compared to jet aircraft. Against targets traveling at 100 to 150 miles per hour, extreme speed immediately becomes secondary. At first glance, the concept seems straightforward. Why would one need a turboprop attack aircraft from the late 1990s when modern fighters exist? The answer lies in the nature of intercepting slow-moving targets. Such engagements require constant course correction and operation in flight regimes that are often inefficient or even uncomfortable for modern jet fighters. Additionally, we must consider operating costs. The A-29's cost per flight hour is estimated at $1,000 to $1,500, whereas the F-16CD costs approximately $14,800 per hour, and the latest F-35A pushes the figure beyond $18,600. The paradox of modern warfare is that technological superiority over an adversary no longer guarantees economic sustainability. The Shahed 136 is not an engineering marvel, yet it's proven highly dangerous due to its combination of long range, over 1,240 miles, a warhead of roughly 90 pounds, and a low cost of approximately $35,000. In simple terms, the defender is confronted with a target that doesn't need to be perfect in order to be economically advantageous for the attacker. Moreover, the threat has long ceased to be isolated. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, from late September 2022 through late December 2024, Russia launched more than 14,700 strike drones against Ukraine, the majority of which were Shahed-type UAVs. By March 2026, the scale of drone attacks reached a new peak, 6,462 Shahed-type UAVs in a single month. Daily totals reached into the hundreds, establishing a new operational logic, saturating airspace with mass-produced, low-cost systems that ensure not a single complex strike, but continuous attrition through quantity. Against this background, it becomes clear why a low-cost attack aircraft has entered the focus of U.S. military planning. If the threat posed by Iranian drones is slow, noisy, follows predictable routes, and often strikes at night, deep within defended territory, there's a strong incentive to avoid expending expensive interceptors. In contrast, the Super Tucano, already marketed by Embraer as a counter-UAS platform, presents a compelling alternative. So where does the strength of a light attack aircraft against Shahed-type drones lie? First and foremost, endurance. The A-29 can remain airborne for 3.5 hours on internal fuel and up to 6 hours with 2 external tanks and an EO/IR sensor suite. A fighter jet can rapidly deploy and reach the target area, but sustained presence comes at a high cost. The A-29, by contrast, was designed specifically for prolonged loitering, making it far better suited for sector defense, route coverage, or point protection over extended periods. The second advantage lies in the integration of sensors and weapons. In November 2025, Embraer described a baseline counter-UAS concept utilizing the aircraft's existing onboard systems. The platform receives initial target coordinates via data link, uses EO/IR sensors for tracking and laser designation, and engages targets using laser-guided munitions or its built-in 50-caliber wing-mounted machine guns, each supplied with 200 rounds. In other words, there's no need to fundamentally redesign or upgrade the aircraft for this mission. Instead, it relies on its existing capabilities adapted to new operational requirements. The third advantage is the weapons configuration itself. By integrating machine guns into the wings, Embraer freed all 5 external hardpoints for fuel tanks, sensors, missiles, and other equipment. This is particularly advantageous for a drone hunting platform. The aircraft doesn't need to allocate valuable hardpoint space for a primary gun system, allowing it to support multiple engagement scenarios, from low-cost gunfire against visually tracked targets to more precise engagements using laser-guided systems such as the Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System, APKWS. The fourth factor is sortie economics. The A-29's flight hour cost, often cited at around $1,500, remains one of its primary selling points. Even allowing for marketing bias, the conclusion remains unchanged. Turboprop light attack aircraft are significantly cheaper to operate than jet fighters. And when the mission involves hours of airborne patrol and the interception of hundreds of low-cost targets, this factor becomes decisive. The fight against Iranian drones is forcing the United States to build a more refined and layered air defense architecture. Within this framework, the Super Tucano would logically occupy the lower or intermediate tier. By employing the A-29, the most expensive and scarce interceptors can be preserved for ballistic threats, cruise missiles, highly maneuverable aircraft, and truly critical breakthroughs, while the burden of countering slow UAVs is assigned to a cost-effective and persistent platform. In this sense, the A-29 doesn't compete with systems such as Patriot, NASAMS, or fighter aircraft. It relieves them. And that relief may well become its most valuable contribution to overall defense sustainability, especially considering that the aircraft is a global leader in its class, having accumulated over 600,000 flight hours. At first glance, it may seem that nothing's missing from such an impressive platform, but the correct answer is the one thing now being integrated into virtually everything, even your kitchen toaster: artificial intelligence. Recent news about Embraer's collaboration with the American company Valkyrie Aero to integrate the AI-driven gunslinger system into the Super Tucano has confirmed earlier rumors that Embraer intends to significantly enhance the aircraft's counter-drone capabilities. Gunslinger incorporates proprietary AI technology developed by Valkyrie Aero, combining electronic warfare, sensors, and weapons into a unified system capable of rapidly detecting, identifying, and neutralizing targets. The A-29 is not a universal replacement for air defense systems. It's not effective in every type of warfare, but rather in specific operational environments, those without dense layered air defense or active fighter opposition. In return, the aircraft is highly effective in relatively permissive environments, in sector defense, protection of critical infrastructure, support of ground forces, and theaters where the adversary relies heavily on drones but lacks air superiority. NATO countries, the United States, and other operators of advanced air power are increasingly looking at platforms of this class. In spring 2023, Embraer announced the A-29N variant, specifically tailored for NATO standards, featuring alliance-compatible systems, communications, and single-pilot operation capability. Portugal became the first customer for this variant, ordering 12 aircraft. This reflects not only the commercial success of the aircraft, but also a growing trend. Even the most advanced militaries are no longer focused solely on the most technologically sophisticated systems, but on those capable of solving real-world problems without overwhelming financial burden. In that sense, the story of the A-29 has almost become symbolic. An aircraft developed nearly 30 years ago as a tool for peripheral conflicts, border patrol, and counterinsurgency operations has proven to be remarkably modern and relevant in an entirely unexpected niche: the fight against mass-produced drone threats. And what could be more logical than countering a threat built on mass and low cost with a proportional, cost-effective solution? So, which other aircraft do you think could help the United States and its allies counter Iranian drones? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay connected. See you soon!